Hello and welcome. I'm Michelle Paver, and we're going out live on YouTube and Twitch TV. I nearly fluffed that. Links are on my website, michellepaver.com/chat. Oh yes, and if you want to be part of live chat, you can see there's all sorts of things going on live chat. Hello Ryan, Empire of Books. What you need to do is you can either go to YouTube and start typing in the live chat area, and it will be picked up. Or you can go on Twitter, hashtag Torak, T-O-R-A-K, Torak, and then I'll catch up with them, or as many of them as I can, because I'm not very good at actually looking at things on the screen when I should be looking at you in the camera. Anyway, I hope you're all reasonably well and not too fed up wherever you are in the world. I know we've got a very cosmopolitan lot, as I was looking just before we went on air. I'm getting a bit fed up with COVID. I haven't had it, but so I can't complain, of course. And a lot of people have it, have a lot more to contend with than me. But it is tricky, isn't it? It's been going on a long time. So if anyone's finding it a drag or is struggling, getting depressed, finding it hard, let's just try to put it away from us for a few minutes, and maybe this will help a bit. So tonight we've got, what have we got? We've got another free giveaway. So let's deal with that first of all. Congratulations to those who won last month. This time it is the paperback of Viper's Daughter. I have one here with some rather beautiful stenciled edges. I'm actually holding it the wrong. No, I got that. Actually got it the right way around. Very beautiful stenciled edges. And it will be signed by me, 3 copies. It will be signed by me. And as I think I told you, at the back of the paperback is the first chapter of Skin Taker. So if you can't wait to find out what Skin Taker is about, it's in the paperback. So without further ado, I think Elf has produced another of his little videos to show you how you might enter the giveaway.
With Viper's Daughter, the Wolf Brother legend lives on. And you, the readers, have spoken. There is no doubt. 86% of all Amazon reviews give Viper's Daughter 5 stars. But we still need your help to spread the word. Can we make Viper's Daughter a bestseller? Only you can do that, and here's how. Share this link with your friends now. read.vipersdaughter.com. No www or http or any other confusing code. Just read.vipersdaughter.com. That's all your friends need to enter the world of Torak, Wren, and Wolf. Share it. And now we have 3 first edition paperbacks to give away, signed by Michelle. As always, it's easy to win. Just send your name and postal address to paperback@vipersdaughter.com, and we'll choose 3 lucky winners at random. Do it now and spread the word. read.vipersdaughter.com.
Well, my goodness, I did love that sort of glowing wolf effect. That's rather beautiful and slightly prescient as well, because it sort of links in with something in Skin Taker. But there we go. And I should say about the giveaway that if you want the book signed to you, to your actual name, could you just put that and spell the name in your email? Otherwise, if you win, I'll just sign my name. So just wanted to make that clear. So good luck, all of those who feel like entering that. Now I think what we'll do, and yes, by the way, it is quite nice to see the Amazon reviews. I never look, because I don't like to see that, because then I find myself drawn to the negative reviews if there are any, which is not a very positive thing to do. So anyway, let's now move from the free giveaway to your questions and comments. So it's time for, that's right, Ask Michelle Anything More. Rather nice credits. So first of all, we have a few very nice comments. This one's from Emily, who won the first edition signed copy of Gods and Warriors. And she said some lovely things. And the one that I'm particularly pleased with is she says, I credit my love of reading to Chronicles of Ancient Darkness. They showed me how amazing reading can be. I'm very pleased that I'm your favourite author, but I'm really thrilled that when you were 10, when you first read the books, it kind of opened you up to reading, because that's, no writer can ask for more. That's wonderful to know. Now we also have Nina, who's she hasn't yet read The Viper's Daughter and maybe not the Wolf Brother books, but you have read some of the books that I wrote early on. Serpent's Tooth, Fever Hill and Shadowcatcher, that's the Jamaican trilogy, and A Place in the Hills, which was my second novel. Got a bit of a soft spot for that one. And you really enjoy them. I'm really glad. They often get left out by journalists and things like that. But, I'm really glad you enjoyed them. And, that's lovely to know. Thank you for letting me know, Nina. And good to meet you as well, online, as it were. One from Mike Amos, too long to show all of it, but thank you for keeping in touch, Mike. Mike is in Italy and went off to the beach. Mike, thanks for making us all envious. Lucky you. Oh, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Well, I'm glad somebody is living somewhere where they can get out, but I can't really complain because I've got Wimbledon Common. It's not quite as grand as that, but, really nice. Now we've got a little collection of emails and comments about availability and things, so I thought I'd deal with them all at once. First of all, Dan, this is a nice one. Your partner has read and loved the Chronicles of Ancient Darkness, and I think she's got a couple of signed. You managed to get a signed copy of Viper's Daughter. It was good going during lockdown. The question is, do you have any signed copies of the books that are surplus, or any unique artwork that you could purchase? I'm afraid the answer, Dan, I'm afraid is I don't. I only have one unique piece of artwork, and that was given me by Orion, and it's an original of one of Jeff Taylor's beautiful chapter illustrations. It's a howling wolf cub. It's gorgeous, and it's just above my computer where I write. So I can't really help you on that. I love the fact that, like all seasoned partners, he says, I am exploring many Christmas present ideas as backups. Yes, always have a plan B. That you sound like a wonderful partner. So I'm sorry I can't really help you with that. I mean, eBay is probably the place to go for sort of signed copies and things like that. Otherwise, a bookshop. I don't know where you live, Dan, but if you live in the UK, I happen to know for a fact, actually, I've just had this idea, my publishers did, before Viper's Daughter came out in April, send out all sorts of goodies like bookmarks and door hangers, signs and things like that to various, and even tote bags and things to various bookshops in the UK. And then lockdown happened, so none of us know what's happened to any of those, whether they're still sitting in bookshops, store rooms at the back, or something in a box. I don't know, but it's always worth asking your local bookshop, particularly independent bookshops, if they've got any Viper's Daughter goodies. You might be able to find something. But thank you for all that, and thank you for your PS. It was a great experience in reading the books. I'm so glad. Now Nicholas, he's rereading the Chronicles, which is lovely. Actually, you're listening to them. And you said, why is the Spirit Walker audiobook unavailable in the US? I completely understand why you would want the audiobook, because you're very busy. Well, my agent has checked up on this with the publishers, and apparently it is available. So there is something on Amazon which says it is. It's actually very lightly abridged, in case you're worried about that. So just in future, and thank you so much for everybody who's written in with sort of difficulties or saying, I can't get it. In future, do send us a screenshot. If anything is saying, like Amazon saying, you can't get this, could you send us a screenshot at michellepaver.com or wolfbrother.com, and then we'll be able to take it up with them. I hope I said that right. Adriana, Yes, you see, she's just received an Amazon notification about Skin Taker being available for pre-order in the US for the Kindle edition. This actually is wrong. Amazon should not have sent that notification because it's not available in the US. We haven't done a deal with the US. I'm sorry about that, Adriana. And again, your question, when will the hardcover edition be available for pre-order in the US? I'm afraid at the moment it won't be, because we haven't done a deal with the publisher in the US. So you have to try to find a way of getting it from the UK and getting them to ship it over. Tammy wanted to purchase the Chronicles of Ancient Darkness for my Kindle, but discovered this format wasn't available. We don't really know where you are. I mean, it's always a good idea if you have an availability problem, let us know where you are, which country you live in, because it is available in the UK, amazon.co.uk, and also it is available in the US. So I'm just reading something that my agent wrote out. We will flash up a QR code on the screen so she can scan it. Okay, there you go. Those funny little things. Those are QR codes. Yay. So there we are. I hope that helps a bit, Tammy. And Charlotte, finally on availability, you read them. They were read to you as a child. I always like to hear that. I think that is a lovely experience. And you mentioned that you've got a learning disability, which makes it difficult for me to read full books. And then you found the audiobook. Yes, a lot of people prefer the audiobook for that reason, or dyslexic or whatever. But the later books are not available in audiobook format in Canada. Yeah, I didn't know about that. But you're right. Apparently, it's not available on audio on Amazon Canada. Goodness knows why. We're asking the publishers about this. Not sure whether you could buy from Amazon.com, which is in the US. I don't know. So I'm sorry. At the moment, I'm not able to help you there, but we are taking that one up with the publishers. So I'm putting that in a separate pile. Now we've got a couple of questions, one of which I should have mentioned, actually, I should have flagged up. I'm not going to be dealing with too many questions today because I've got an expanded answer to one question, because over a couple of years, I've often been asked, about planning. Do I plan or don't I plan? And I never have enough time to give a proper answer. So there's going to be an expanded answer soon to that question. So in the meantime, there's only one more question. And this is from Nia. That might be a Finnish surname, but I'm not sure. First read Wolf Brother as a teenager about 12 years ago, and still read the series as an adult. I'm so pleased. Surprised and glad to find out that I'm continuing Chronicles. Yes, I know, when I said I never would. And the question is, what made me return to Torek and Wolf after all that long time? Yes, there's me up a tree recently. Yeah, good question, Nia. I always said I wouldn't. I always thought I'd given, the right ending, a good send-off to Torek and Ren and Wolf at the end of Ghost Hunter. But they did stay with me in a way that other characters in other books haven't. I don't know why. And the other thing was that people kept on the website and in letters and at signings, when we used to do signings pre-COVID, used to say, please, 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 will you write another book? We want to find out what happens to Torek and Ren and Wolf. So even then, I wouldn't have done it if I hadn't had a really good idea. And as I think I've said previously on a few programs, I was up just for a brief trip to Arctic Canada. And this is about 5 years ago now. And I was lucky enough to see the Northern Lights one night. And one of them was a sort of twisty bit that looked like a big, giant, twisty, green, shining arrow pointing north. And that gave me an idea. And that really started things going. And that's when I got the idea for Viper's Daughter. And pretty much that week, I got the idea for Skin Taker and Wolfbane as well, in essence. So, yeah, there we go. Never say never. And Nia, you also had another question. You also love my ghost stories. That's nice to know, particularly Dark Matter. I was wondering if you'll be continuing to write ghostly tales as well. I hope so. I certainly hope so. Ghost stories are strange things. They're quite delicate in the way that the urge to read them and to write them, I think, comes and goes. It certainly does with me. I don't know about you. At this time of year, I'm starting to think about it. Halloween, the nights are drawing in my part of the world. And it's the same thing with writing. You can't write a ghost story if you don't really, really want to, because they're really difficult to write. So I hope I will continue to want to. I have an idea for a Gothic story, excuse me, another Gothic story, a little bit like, in the same vein as Wakenhurst. So we'll see. Now, Bella, and this is the, excuse me, I'm just going to have a drink of water. Yeah, this is the one I want to expand on a little bit. Huge fan of my books. That's always a good start, Bella. They started my passion for reading. Again, I'm really glad about that. Can I ask? Yes, of course you can. When you write your novels, do you outline any part of the story, or are you more like an organic writer? Well, that is the question, isn't it? Let's just get our terms right. What does organic mean? Well, I looked it up, actually. It's one of those words that people use in quite a vague way sometimes. I'm not saying you do, Bella, but I actually did look it up in the dictionary, which wasn't massively helpful. It said integral in the structure of something, or characterised by the coordination of integral parts. But I think we all know what Bella means. Do I plan, or does a thing sort of arise naturally? Some authors just pick a character and just see where it's taking them. And that some of them are very good authors. I'm not like that. I am a planner, but it is organic. So let me explain what that means. I'll take an example, and I'll try to avoid spoilers. Ghost Hunter, the 6th book in Chronicles. I start out usually just thinking, what roughly is Torak's aim, or the aim of the main character. In this case, it's to destroy, or to stop Aostra, the last Soul Eater. And then I think sort of what gets in his way. It's winter, he's separated from Ren, there's an ice storm. That's to begin with, that's where I am. That's what does he want? Where is he at emotionally? That's where the organic bit comes in. But I do a bit of planning. And it's very messy, though. It's not just a question of sort of deciding what will happen to Torak and then plonking him down and forcing him to do it. I have to think about what he's feeling, about what Ren is feeling, about what Wolf is feeling, what the baddie is feeling, Aostra, what she wants, what's the weather doing. I've got to, what are the dangers that could get in their way? And out of that, I've got to somehow work out roughly where the story's going, because I do prefer to know roughly where my story's going. So I end up, and I've sometimes shown, I think this, I don't end up, but I start off really with what I call a flow sheet, and that's one page on which I've sort of tried to set out the main headings. It's like, the first one is the setup, clans haunted by Aostra. Fine. And then it goes all the way down to climax, in the Mountain of Ghosts. So between the setup and the climax, okay, I've got to get them from the forest to the Mountain of Ghosts, and therein lies the story. And then I'll do what I call a plan, and this is the plan for Ghost Hunter. It's about 21 pages long, so it's not that long, and it's incredibly messy because as I go through, I change and I cross out and I scribble on it and things like that. But it's at least giving me something of an idea of what might happen in the story. So it's not a blueprint, and that's the difficulty. People who say, "Oh, I never plan. How can you plan a story?" I think they're thinking that maybe it's a kind of blueprint that you follow your plan, just like it's a sort of numbered directions, and it's not like that. The clans are haunted by Aostra. That tells you nothing about how you're going to start writing the story. What actually happens on the ground? How is Torak feeling? how is he haunted and what happens in chapter 1. So it's a very messy process. And then it gets even messier, not least because these books are so laborious. That's the plan. But as Torak and Wren and Wolf live in the forest, I have to then know roughly what time of year it is, what's the weather doing, because that's going to affect them in a big way. What's the moon doing? And so at some point I'll work out a timeline. Of course, that's a bit later when I've actually got some idea of the story. And I'll do little diagrams about the moon, because the moon can be quite important in some of these stories. And, you can tie yourself in knots. And as I go on, oops, I've just dropped that. As I start writing each sort of section, then I have to work out a little bit more about things like where's the river bank, if it happens to be on a river bank and that's important, or what actually does the Mountain of Ghosts look like. So I do little sketches. Actually, this is not bad for me. That's a picture of the Mountain of Ghosts that I drew. Because I had to have, as you can see, I'm not an artist, but I had to have a rough idea so that I could follow where Torak was and what he could see at different times and what the lost wolf cub could see, and where do they meet up with Dark and things like that. That's the character Dark. So that's why I would call myself a planner, but I would also call myself an organic writer, to use your term, Bella, because thank you, Simon. Nice drawing. Well, I thought it was quite good. It's better than my usual sketches, I can tell you. Really, they're not very good. But the organic bit comes in that, you can have all of this and you can have these detailed plans and lots of, not to mention all the research, files full of research with all the stuff about the different tribes and traditional peoples I visit and all the wonderful ethnic detail and detail about the animals. But at the heart of the story is always the emotion of the characters. And so, I often have a card in front of me when I'm writing, which just says, what's the feeling? Because that keeps you centered. Because it doesn't matter about all the other stuff, the phases of the moon and what they're wearing and everything. If you haven't got the feelings of the characters, that's what really propels the story. And that's, I think, where the organic bit comes in. Because if you just try to impose your plan on characters and move them around, they will be wooden and, they won't come alive, and then the readers will know it. So that's what makes it so complicated, because it's got to feel like it's just naturally coming from the characters, the clash of the different characters. And so that's the bit when I'm on the ground with the characters, but then I'm also above them like an eagle, looking down and trying to sort of make them roughly at least get to the Mountain of Ghosts in Ghost Hunter for the climax. So there we are. That's probably a bit muddling, but it is a very muddled process. It is not an easy process. That's how I do it. Different writers do it in different ways. So there we are. I'm glad I was able to just expand a little on that, because sometimes when I get masses of questions to get through and everything, and I just do a very quick one on that. So perhaps if you're keen on writing, I don't know if you are, Bella, I hope that's helped you, and I hope anyone else who's listening, maybe given you ideas. You may be a completely different kind of writer, but that may have given you just a few ideas. If nothing else, you can see that, you can scribble a little funny drawing and then it can turn into a prize-winning novel. There we go. There's a lot of imagination involved in writing. So I think that's come to the end of the questions. Let's catch up with live chat if we can. Someone Natalia is a very visual person. I like maps and drawings. Yes, absolutely. So do I. I'm currently involved in just trying to persuade Hachette to restore some forest maps to the original Chronicles books. They're important. The maps are really, really important. I wrote those books with the maps at the same, to go with them. I have a question. This is Nesti Kogarana. Is the hashtag Clan Champion still working? I don't think it is. I'm told it ended with the end of Clan Forum many years ago. Sorry about that. But I'm glad you remember it. What is the favourite book that you wrote? From Eleanor, 8 years old. Eleanor, it's usually the one I've just finished. So it changes. And the reason for that is that, as you has probably gathered from what I've been saying, writing is a really messy process. And when I'm in the middle of it, and I'm scratching out and circling bits and saying, oh, I haven't had time to put that in, I have to put it in somewhere else, it's a bit infuriating. But when I've just finished a book, like I've just finished Skin Taker, which comes out in April, it's fresh in my mind, but I'm really, really pleased. And so that at the moment, it's my favourite because I can remember all the good bits. But I also remember the pain it took to write. And then it'll change. I'm currently at the painful stage, the very painful stage with Wolfbane, which is the next book, the last book. But I hope and trust that too will become my favourite in time. So that's a nice question. So there's quite a few here. Is the series going to be a Netflix original? So that's GC Broom 08. Is there someone else who's asking? Is the Chronicle series going to be a Netflix or Amazon original? That's the same person. Yes. So you're really, really interested in that. Well, it's going to be a streaming original. It's not going to be Netflix. I don't think I'm at liberty yet to say who it's going to be. But it will be a streaming original. I can tell you that. And it will be a big, big streaming original. So it will be pretty easily available. Adaluna7 really loves your books. You were dreaming that Hylas was another reincarnation of Torak. Wow. I am so envious. I never have dreams like that. I've never dreamt of my characters, which I'm really envious. And that is actually really fabulous because Hylas means man of the woods in Greek, in ancient Greek. And so I never really got as far as reincarnation, but I always thought I liked that sort of link with Torak. So yeah, nice one. Am I going to do any spin-off series? I don't think so. I know I said I would never do any sequels to Chronicles, and I am. So you can never really say never. But if I'm in Torak's world, I would be writing about Torak and Ren and Wolf. And I really do think that book 9, which is Wolfbane, will be the end of their story. I don't mean that necessarily in a doom-laden way. With giveaways, how many times can we enter with the same postal address? Yes, that is only once. You cannot please shower us with emails. It won't do you any good. Nice, honest question, though. How many countries have I been to? Oh, gosh, I don't know. I've never counted. Quite a lot, actually, and quite a lot of them for publicising Wolf Brother. But this was a few years ago. Obviously, I've cut down completely on my travel because of COVID. But even before then, for about 5 years before then, I'd cut down a lot on travel because of global warming. Just doesn't make sense for me to sort of fly all over the place. But before then, yes, I've been to quite a few countries. How old was I when I started to write? Chloe, I was 5. I wrote my first story on my mum's typewriter when I was 5, Ebony the Mouse Goddess, which she has still kept. But of course, it wasn't published. I think I was in my early 40s when, and it was 20 years ago, when my first book came out. Just finished Dark Matter and loved it. Michaela, I'm so pleased. I was going to read it for Halloween. Yay! Could not stop. Also, I loved Isaac and loved Jack and Gus. I'm so pleased. Yay! I'm delighted. I'm glad that you read it in one sitting because that was my aim. Yes. I was wondering if you took your inspiration from Chronicles to build up these 2 amazing characters. You mean if I took inspiration from Chronicles for the characters in Jack and... No, I don't think I did. I wasn't aware of it. Jack and Gus were very much of their time. There's quite a lot of me in Jack, I think. That was an interesting idea. Very interesting idea. I hadn't seen the link. Can't wait for Viper's Daughter. Totally love the series. Yay. I was so excited when I found out you were writing another book. Well, I hope you don't have to wait too long. Oh, and I should say that I think anyone who's listening from Spain or a Spanish speaking country, I think it will now, the 3 books will eventually be translated into Spanish, because I think we've done a deal, or about to do a deal, with a Spanish company, so Salamandra. So anyone who is who actually managed to write into their publishers in Spain, thank you for doing that. In Chronicles, is there a ritual object or two that people have to signal they have mates, or is it just word of mouth? Well, in some clans, they do. I think the Lynx clan did. They changed, the women changed their hair, to show that they've got a mate. But it tends to be word of mouth, because hunter-gatherers are kind of tend to be less rigid about that sort of thing. And that's partly because they don't value property, and therefore inheritance isn't such a big deal. So therefore, who you mate with isn't such a big deal either. A little bit more relaxed. Isabella says, my brother gave me Wolf Brother on my 10th birthday. Nice brother. Good taste. I fell in love. It inspired me in so many ways. And I'm a biologist now. That is fantastic. I'm so pleased. Yay. Will you consider giving the Soul Eaters a prequel? No, I'm not interested particularly in writing prequels. I just, because how they're going to end up, and with the Soul Eaters is not too good, is it? But it's an interesting one, and I think if there are adaptations, if the TV adaptation comes up, there may be more of a background. Who knows? That's an interesting one. They had pretty interesting backstories. What inspired your interest in ancient civilizations or peoples in the first place? Florence, I think it goes back to my parents. It always goes back to them. But when I was very small, they bought a series of books. They were Time Life. They were American books, beautiful illustrated ones about the great civilizations. Lots and lots of gorgeous pictures. One on ancient Egypt, one on ancient Greece, and it went all the way through. So those were very formative, and also reading the myths and the legends as retold by Roger Lansdowne Green when I was a kid. Just fantastic. And here's one from Ryan. Hello, Ryan. Hope you're well. Maybe helpful for pointing out for international readers, book depository ship worldwide for free. This is very useful. I didn't know that. So international readers, book depository ship worldwide for free. That's very helpful. I shall have to ask my sister who lives in the Falklands if she knows about that as well. We've got time for just a couple more. Have you ever thought of writing a book about your travels? Richard, that has been mooted occasionally. The idea of a sort of handbook to Chronicles of Ancient Darkness. I have to say that fills me with horror, because I'd have to get all the facts really, really right, and, check up on where exactly I'd been, and, oh boy. And there wouldn't be any imagination involved. The fun thing for me is taking my studies, like, I don't know, meeting the Chukchi people in Siberia, and then changing them or taking bits from them and making them into the Narwhal clan, and then putting that in the story. So not terribly keen on that idea, but we'll see. Can we have a general date for the series? You're really keen on this series, aren't you? You can't, I'm afraid. If I had a general date, I would give you one. But it's going well, but it's at the stage of, a wonderful scriptwriter, screenwriter working on it. So this is the last one, I think. Which character do you think you're most like? I think there's a bit of me in Tarak, because he's a loner like me, but I think Ren, in the sense that she's quite sharp and she's quite critical, and I'm very critical, but she's nicer. So yes, I think on that slightly disquieting note, we'd better leave that. But yes, some great live chat. Thank you. That's it for today. Thank you all for watching, and thank you all of you for all your questions and comments, keep them coming. Go to michellepaver.com, click on Ask, and I'll answer as many as I can the next time we have one of these. You can also keep up to date with me, and I will have to read this bit, on Twitter at Michelle Paver, and on YouTube, and on Instagram as well. So anyway, look after yourselves, do please. I know it's boring keeping the sort of distance and wearing the masks and everything, but it does make a huge difference, washing your hands. Do look after yourselves. Try to stay well. Don't watch too much news because it's just depressing at the moment. And happy reading. Bye-bye.
With Viper's Daughter, the Wolf Brother legend lives on. And you, the readers, have spoken. There is no doubt 86% of all Amazon reviews give Viper's Daughter 5 stars. But we still need your help to spread the word. Can we make Viper's Daughter a bestseller? Only you can do that, and here's how. Share this link with your friends now. read.vipersdaughter.com. No www or http or any other confusing code. Just read.vipersdaughter.com. That's all your friends need to enter the world of Torek, Ren, and Wolf. Share it. And now we have 3 first edition paperbacks to give away, signed by Michelle. As always, it's easy to win. Just send your name and postal address to paperback@vipersdaughter.com, and we'll choose 3 lucky winners at random. Do it now and spread the word. read.vipersdaughter.com.